Welcome to the first video in the online profile video series. One of the most important things to complete for your online presence is going to be your agent biography. We will use the agent biography to be placed on multiple real estate websites, your profile, and social media. We fully understand how difficult it can be to write about yourself, so we've put together a worksheet to help you work through writing your agent biography. You may download the worksheet featured in this video right below the video, as well as my sample biography. First, we will begin with some tips to keep in mind as you write your biography. Tip number 1, write about yourself in the third person. Writing about yourself in the third person is going to help you avoid sounding boastful and biased. This will also make it seem like someone else wrote this biography for you. The one exception to this tip would be when you're working on sections such as your personal section or your mission. Those should both come from you. The second tip is to not get carried away with details. You don't want to have to go in and update your biography year after year to keep it up to date. Be sure to be vague with certain details so that you don't have to go in and update your biography as often. For example, instead of saying that you've been in business for 20 years, state the year that you started. Tip number 3, keep it simple. No one wants to read an essay, so it's always a great idea to use bullet points when you can. If your biography is too long, the consumer is going to move right on past it. Tip number 4, inform consumers. So your biography doesn't actually have to be all about you. Your online biography is similar to your buyer consultation or listing presentation. You are using it to leave a great first impression. Now we will get into the section where you can answer some questions to help you brainstorm ideas of what to write on your biography. You don't have to include every section, especially if you're new to the real estate industry. Some of these questions will not apply yet. The first section is your mission statement. This can be written in first person. Why did you get into real estate in the first place? What is your mission when working with a client? What do you love about what you do? You'll notice with my mission on my sample biography, I kept it short and sweet. It says to provide education and assistance to real estate professionals to better utilize technology for growing and managing their business. So now you'll want to write something similar that expresses what your goal is when working with your clients. The next section of your biography will be service areas. What areas do you serve? How familiar are you with those areas? What is your experience in those areas? This is a great section to include in your biography because you never know what is going to stick out to the consumer. You might mention that you work in Kirkwood, and that might be exactly where they're interested in moving to, so they might pick you specifically because you listed Kirkwood in your agent biography. The next section is going to be your specialties. Now, if you're brand new, you might not exactly specialize in anything real estate related, but you can mention what types of property and what types of clients you will be working with. You are welcome to pull examples from the list on this worksheet. If you take a look at my sample biography, you'll also notice I started with a statement. So I said, as your e-marketing coordinator, Ashley may assist you with. So notice I kept that in the third person. Then I broke it down into bullet points to make it easier for them to follow. Section number 4, knowledge and experience. How has your past experience prepared you for your career in real estate? What experience do you have in real estate? In this section on my sample biography, you can see that I mentioned I started with Coldwell Banker Gundaker in October of 2013. This way I do not have to go back and update that date on a regular basis, so I don't have to say I've been here 3.5 years or I've been here 4 years. I can simply leave it as October of 2013. For me, this is my first job in the real estate industry, so I didn't have a lot of real estate experience to talk about. Therefore, I briefly mention what I've done prior to my experience with our company. Section number 5 is for education. This is where you can list any education prior to your real estate career. You can also list the education you've received since starting your real estate career. If you look at my sample biography, it mentions my college background. It also mentions my real estate license and where I went to school for real estate. And then a sentence that I suggest every agent has on their biography: extensively continuing her education through Coldwell Banker Gundaker and St. Louis Realtors to stay abreast of market trends and license law. So that lets consumers know that you're continuing your education, and that if you got your license 10 years ago, you've done what you need to do to keep up with what's going on in the real estate industry. Certifications and designations. As you work on your continuing education, you most likely are receiving certifications and designations. Everyone loves to add those abbreviations after their name on their profiles, but it's important to explain to the consumer what those mean and how they benefit them. If you look at my sample biography, you can see under certifications and designations, I listed the Senior Real Estate Specialist Certification, SFR, and I mentioned what that certification entails. I got this statement right off of the website for the Senior Real Estate Specialist Certification. So not only does it show that I'm continuing my education, but they also understand how I can help them specifically. Awards. This is a great section for experienced agents. What awards have you received, what are they for, and how do they benefit the consumer? If you take a look at my sample biography, I list the award that I received, the date that I received it, and a description of the award so that the consumer can understand what I had to do to earn that award. Professional organizations is a great section for new agents. This gives you some content on your biography that's related to the real estate industry, even if you don't have a lot of experience to speak of. Many of the organizations that you are a member of are listed in the example on the worksheet. This is my sample biography and how I have listed my professional organizations with bullet points. The services section. This should be your most convincing section of your profile. This is your chance to really convince consumers that they should work with you. Be sure not to give away all your secrets. You do want to save some things for your consultations. You can include the use of CBG technology and how you use it to your client's benefit. An example of this would be talking about how you have access to a tool called DocuSign for the convenience of your clients so that they can sign anywhere at any time. Consumers often do not understand exactly how much a salesperson does. This is your opportunity to demonstrate why it is worth paying your commission. Some of the things that seem like common knowledge to us in the industry are not common knowledge among consumers. So even when it feels like you're stating the obvious, you might be providing very useful information to your consumer. It is completely up to you how you break down your services. I like to break them down as services that you provide for sellers and services that you provide for buyers. When listing your services, keep in mind what you do to go above and beyond for your clients. What is unique about the services you offer? A great example is if you always provide professional photography for your listings. The next section is charity or community involvement. What do you do to connect with the community? Here's a look at my sample biography. Under community involvement, I mention that I am an event liaison for the Ronald McDonald House Charities of St. Louis. I always encourage all of our agents to mention the Ronald McDonald House on their biography because of the relationship we have with them here at Coldwell Banker Gundaker. The next section on your biography is the personal section. This is another section where you don't have to write in the third person, and it's important to remember to leave out dates or ages, anything that can change on a regular basis. This section should be brief, and you don't have to include this section at all, although it's a great way to let the consumer get to know you. Adding a client testimonial section is another way that you can really get through to the consumers. On my sample biography, you'll see that I called this section recommendations. I usually like to add recommendations within quotation marks, and this is where I use italics. I personally don't like to mention clients' last names, so you'll see that I used their first name and the first letter of their last name. Be sure you have the client's permission before using their testimonial online. Thank you for watching, and be sure to check out the rest of our online profile video series.